Do you see his picture on your end?
Hold on.
Oh, I did, but not a second ago. It was just him.
Yeah, nah.
So
All
you
right.
so you see a picture of Lee, like his like he trying to get a job picture.
It looked like his Christian Mingles profile pic.
Right. Hey, how come we can't get that shit to go away?
Oh yeah, because it didn't used to be there when I signed off.
Oh no, so he not gonna be on the main conversation. I have him around in case like we reference something, he might pull something up. I used to have like pictures pop up on the screen. So we'll see. But that's why he's around.
Yeah, I'm a log off and try to figure this out. I'm gonna still be on, but y'all go ahead, man. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Lee is single, by the way, Daphnique. I don't know what the situation is.
You know.
Just on the spot. I know I look single, but I am. But
I mean, you see my Christian Mingle profile thing, you know, so brother look good.
All right, get your ass off or you get me too and time's up.
I'm recording this conversation. I just don't believe in making it, making a complaint until you become 100 millionaire and then it's to the bag.
Exactly. Straight up. I used that. Yeah, no, straight up. Hey, what's up, Daphne? Appreciate you for doing this. First of all, we go way, way back. Daphne, somebody that I've seen on the open mic scene, the feature being, featuring for people scene, and now she's headlining. But the real reason why I started this platform, Urban Legendz Podcast, we've been doing it for like a year now. Not even a year yet, but I started because I wanted to celebrate people that I consider like living legends and making legendary moves in their career. That's right. I'll put you in that category because you're somebody.
There's gonna be some people out there that be like, nah, she like Bow Wow. She ain't make no moves.
Nah, fuck that. Fuck them. I definitely think you are, man, because, I started seeing, like, I know you've been putting out content on social media, but I started seeing the Facebook growing. I started seeing the TikTok growing, and now I'm seeing you headlining your own shows. And I mean, I respect that tremendously because you doing it your way. You're not waiting on somebody to give you something. You like, forget that. I'm gonna go out there and get it myself. And the right people when they could catch up, and if they don't catch up, fuck them, because I'm getting this bag by myself. So this is Daphnique Springs. Welcome to Urban Legendz Podcast. How you doing?
What's up? I am doing good. The sun is back out in LA.
Shout out. I just left LA. I was out there for a week. Finally doing stand-up. I ain't did stand-up really for like a year. I probably did stand-up maybe 6 times last year.
Oh, for real? I was on a rampage out there.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta get my life together. I was filming.
You're a working actor though, so it's like, you don't cross over into that Jamie Foxx, Eddie Murphy lane where like, I don't gotta do stand-up. I'll do it if I feel like it,
That was the case. We got canceled last week though, so I'm back to that nigga. I called my agent. I called my agent like, hey brother, we need to get me back on the road. So yeah, I mean, because I love stand up. At the end of the day, you know how it is. At the end of the day, you wanna go out there and touch the fans, and so that's why I was glad to get back out in LA yesterday and really get into it. So I did the Hi. It's a new spot. You need to check it out called the Comedy Chateau. You ever heard of that spot?
No, where's that at?
It's literally down the street from the Hi.
Oh yeah, I heard of it. I was supposed to do it Saturday, but Ryan Davis is doing his thing out here, and so I did his show on Saturday night, him and Jeru. So yeah, so because that show was supposed to start at 7, and then it moved to 8, and then because it was at 8, you know how I was trying to hop around and do 2, but then it just ended up being 1.
Oh, got you. Fire. Shit, I didn't even know about that show. I would have did that show. I would have hit up. I would have hit up.
Yeah, we'll have more though.
Oh, okay, yeah. I would have bumped somebody. That's what I use my TV credits. I'm like, hey man, I'm in town, man. Let me get on up real quick. They be like, all right, Justin. So this ain't about me. This is about you, goddammit. I want to find out all about you. I wanted to give people a platform to really like have extended conversations. And I wanted people, your fan base to really get to know you. I know they see you on the TikTok and Facebook and stuff like that, but to really have a platform to really know where you come from. So first off, where you grew up?
I grew up in South Florida. I was born in Palm Beach Gardens at the Palm Beach Gardens Hospital. That's South Florida, West Palm Beach County, Palm Beach County. So that's where I grew up. But then my family, we moved around a lot. So Yeah, I've lived in a lot of places: Minnesota, Atlanta, outside of Detroit, California. You know, I used to hustle in these LA streets when I was a kid. That's how I
Straight
knew
up.
I could come back here and do my thing.
Yeah, you know, I'm from Florida too, from Tampa Bay area, St. Pete. So, you know, I feel you on that. You know, we we Florida people. When did the comedy come into play? Like when did you start feeling like or when did you take an interest in comedy?
Well, when I first moved to LA, I just knew I wanted to be in the industry. I didn't know specifically where I wanted to be, but I moved here Christmas Day 2009 because the tickets was cheap if you fly on Christmas Day.
Straight up.
I shipped my car. I called my grandma. My grandma said, "Oh, I got 2 bedrooms. I got an extra bed in there." I said, "All right, grandma, that's all I need." She's like, "You just gotta buy you a TV, baby." And I said, "Grandma, don't worry about that. I got an extra 200 for this little small ass TV." So I moved out here, and then I ended up getting into stand up October 2010. And that was because this guy that I went to college with, that I used to date in college, he had a friend that lived out here in LA. And he was like, you know, you should just connect with him so you know somebody out there about besides your family. And then so I connected with him, and then he had this friend called named Elijah that was doing stand up, and he invited me to a Branger show. And the Branger show, and I was like, wow, I want to do this. You know, have you ever looked at somebody else and be like, I could do that too?
That's why I started
Not saying
rapping.
this
I
guy.
started rapping because I seen a lot of other niggas rapping. I said if they could make it, I certainly have a shot.
Yeah, it wasn't that he was bad. It was just like I could do this too. So I ended up talking to the promoter, building up my little confidence, and just going after it, and ended up getting on stage on that Branger show. He said, if you too could bring 10 people. And so my grandmother used to be one of the people that was at every show when I first started out because it was Branger shows, and I had to pay for her 2-drink minimum, but her and her wig was in the front row. You hear me?
Hey, so that brings up a good point, which is you had support from your grandma, you know, when you started out on your comedy journey. Did you grow up with both parents? And if so, and even if you didn't, did you have support from your parents when you told them like I want to start like pursuing acting and comedy?
So I did have the support of my grandmother, and also like I grew up, my parents were divorced by the time I was 6, but I always hopped back and forth between both of them. So I think shortly after the divorce, I stayed with my dad for many years because we used to fish every day, because that's how I first started earning my money. I used to sell fish in Florida. So then I would go back and forth between my parents, you know. And so I had the support of both of them moving out here. But just having family out here, because a lot of people, you know, they move out here with talking about $30 in their pocket. I mentally, the way I am, I can't move like that. You know what I mean? I have to have a little more things in place. Like I don't believe in things having to be perfect, but I'm also not gonna just be out here with nothing. So, you know, I had my grandmother, and then I also had $10,000 saved up. So I knew that I would be okay out here.
Wow, let's talk about that, because I mean a lot of people don't know that I did the exact same thing. I opened my first savings account when I was 10 years old, and I put $50 in there because I always knew I wanted to move to LA. So like when I
Oh,
was
for
10,
real?
yeah. So like my first $50, I opened a savings account, put fucking the $50 in there, and I was like, one day I'm gonna use this money to move to LA. Talk about you saving and knowing the importance of saving, because I mean that's just something I feel like a lot of people don't think about, you know. So what made you save, and what jobs were you doing to even get you to a point where you could save $10,000?
So I was a cocktail waitress at the casino in Coconut Creek, Florida, at the Coconut Creek Casino. It was an Indian reservation casino. I was a cocktail waitress. And it was this older Jewish man that used to come in there. He had to be probably late 50s, and maybe, yeah, I would say late 50s. And he would come in there, and all I had to do was come speak to him and say, hello, how are you? I don't remember his name, but I would just say hello, and I'll touch his shoulder. That was it, you know. And this man would give me 5 $100 bills for coffee.
Damn.
And he would do this, and he would consistently come back. So that's the money that I used to just save up to move out here. And so I remember, like, I think I had ended up getting like 5,000 in 3 weeks or something like that. So I had that money, and then somebody hit my car. Somebody rammed in the back of my car at a red light. This young white kid, he wasn't paying attention. I don't know if he was sleeping or he was dozing. He wasn't paying attention. So, you know, I ended up going to the chiropractor and stuff, and I got another little settlement for like $5,000. After they take out all their fees. So that was the $10,000 I needed. I didn't care how I got it, but
Thank you, Lord.
I look at it all as God. You know what I mean? I didn't have to be at that light, and He didn't have to hit me. But yeah, my neck still hurt because of it, but it's worth it.
You said your neck still hurt because of it, huh?
Yeah, accidents have long-lasting effects on your body. It may not feel like some people. I'm like, you gotta go to the chiropractor and the doctor and get you a little settlement because you may not feel it today, but once you get towards that 60 and 70, you gonna feel them hits.
Now, see, I'm gonna tell you how much. So you said you was getting what, $500 for coffee?
Yeah, for one coffee. And it was crazy because this other girl was getting way more money from this other Jewish guy. But it was just like people like that. And I remember he said, do you ever want to start a business? And I was like, well, I don't really have that thing. But then when I made up in my mind, I was like, oh, I want to go to LA. I never told him that, but it was just everything aligning, you know what I mean, for me to really save up and come out here, because I used that money to immediately join SAG-AFTRA too. So I immediately joined AFTRA within the first month of being here in January 2010. And then a couple of months later, I did AFTRA. So I made that money as well. Damn. So yeah, so that was part of where a large portion of the money, like $4,000, went to.
Now, I'm going to tell you the difference between your morals and ethics and mine, because if I would have touched him on the shoulder and he gave me $500, I immediately would have jiggled his balls the next time. I would have went in there and been like, what are you going to give me if you giving me $500 for the shoulder touch? Goddamn.
You know what? I'm not going for all of the money. You know what I mean? I knew I had my grandma out here. She said I could live rent free even though I gave her money every week. So I'm like, I don't need much. It's not like I had to come out here and get an apartment and everything. And also, you don't want to start off that way, right?
No, I feel you.
That's going to crack when you get here. And, this man just paid me a little reparations. That's all.
Man, that's amazing. So, okay.
I ain't have to have sex with the master too.
Hey, because in Hollywood, there's a lot of people that do it, men and women, that do all type of crazy shit, for sure. So, that's what's up. So the first time you did stand up that night, that when you did that Bringer show, how did it go that night?
Oh, I was killing it. I was on top of the world because I had no fears yet. So I went in it fearless. Now, even to this day, I'm still judging and doubting myself. You know what I mean? Because that's how the world is, right? I went into it in a clear mind, like I could do anything. And then over time, as you continue to go up, it's like you start to have all these fears and doubts and societal impacts that affect you going up, moving forward. So yeah, the first night, now the second time, bomb, bomb, bomb. Because the promoter, if people had said, oh, well, you should do this, people started to get in my ear. You don't need to be doing that. You got to be careful wearing this. And you got to be careful saying this. And you need to make sure the joke is like this. So now all of these things are embodied inside of me. And it's just affects how you move in the future. But the first time, it was like doing crack. The first time is going to be amazing. The rest of the time, you chasing the high. I never did crack, but
yeah, that was my thought. I was like, oh, Daphnique was out here doing crack. All right. Just opened up out here. No, it's so true, because that's something I had to recently tell me when I got to LA and I performed my first show back out there. I was at the Ha and I was doing okay, but I was in my head. I knew I was in my head thinking like, this show didn't hit as hard as it used to hit. And then I got to a point when I said, man, fuck that, Justin. I got to go the complete opposite. Don't give a fuck. Just start talking. And once I made that switch of going and tapping into that fearlessness, what you just talked about, soon as I tapped into that fuck it, fearless, I'm going to just do me, that's when I killed, And I mean, I think that's important, definitely for comedians to remember. Even actors, I feel the same way. People wonder why I book so often. And it's because of that not giving a shit mindset that I have when I go into these audition rooms. Like, I'm just like, man, fuck it. I'm going to do me. I think it's funny. I think it's a good performance. And if you don't like it, then fuck it. I don't give a shit. But usually when I have that attitude, it's when I book it. When I care is when I don't book it. It's so crazy. Okay, so this is what I wanted to know. When you first started out, because I heard it could be difficult for a woman starting out in comedy, because you usually have dudes trying to, flirt with you, get with you, saying they want to help you write jokes, but they really trying to, flirt, whatever. Did you have that coming up? And how did you kind of navigate that so you could let them know, like, no, I'm serious about the art of comedy and I'm taking it serious and it is what it is?
I would say for me, it was just not about being overly friendly. So even though that's like my personality in real life, but also setting boundaries. And if I don't like something, you got to figure. I grew up. It was time. It was when I was younger. It was for a long time. I lived in. I think because we didn't have a whole lot of money, but it was me, my father, and my uncle, and we lived in the I think it was like a studio apartment, but it was like you could close off the bedroom area, but it was really a studio. It was just us three for a long time. And when we go fishing on this boat and we had people coming on and off the boat, I learned how to Jones and learn how to deal with people, men. And so I think that was a big part of how I was able to deal with people here is because my dad, like I was never sexually abused as a kid or anything like that. So I always knew my dad was Nation of Islam. So it was about respecting women. And then it was setting boundaries. If you don't like anything, you need to tell me or tell somebody else. If you don't like that, you don't play jokes, you don't play with men. It was just certain things that I was accustomed to in a mindset of just growing up, right? Because that affects how you move through life. So I knew that if somebody offended me or somebody I didn't like what somebody's saying, I'd shoot back, or you make it be known that you're crossing a boundary with me. Because my dad wanted to make sure that, that was something that I always knew, don't let people cross boundaries with you. So it came, people say little things or whatever. I check it. And if you want to move on with it, we can move on and be cool and say hi the next week. If you don't, then bye.
Right.
I wasn't worried because I never felt like one person holds your destiny, right? You may not be cool with these people over here, but for every person you're not cool with, about 3 other people that'll like you. And we see that with even messed up people gonna take to you, And so at the end of the day, I'm not gonna be concerned about this. It's so many rooms in LA. It's not like I'm living in a city where it's only 3 or 4 stages, if that, and you really got this community of people that can hold something over your head. LA got so many comedy clubs, so many alternative nights on those comedy clubs, so many promoters, so many alternative rooms, festivals. It was just a way of just like staying in the mindset of just be good, just continue to work, and people would take notes of it. And when people would say little slick shit to me, I'll say slick the shit back. I never forget, I was in the club one night and this guy, he grabbed my ass going up the club, going up the stairs. And I was like, hey, don't touch me. And he was like, what did he say? He was like, he said, well, then something smart. So then I saw him later night in the club and I saw him going up the stairs. So I made my way to follow him and I grabbed his nuts and his ass and stuck my fingers. I have long fingers. I stuck them all up his ass and grabbed his sack nuts. And I said, yeah, then don't be walking past me or whatever. I repeated back what he said. And he was just like shocked. Yeah, so if you want to play these games, we can play these games. You know what I mean? But for the most part, people don't bother me. I think it's my personality, but then I know a lot of women that say they've been in like sticky situations. Like I had somebody pull their dick out on me and I said, hey, nigga, put your dick up. And it was just simple as that. He did it and I moved on.
Right. And that man was Barack Obama. I'm here to
get a book deal.
I know, right? Mr. President. No, I'm joking. Hey, so that's women never pull their titties out, and I wish it was reciprocated, but we don't get that. I have had women try to kiss me though, like after shows and stuff like that. So I've had women kind of go in for a kiss and all type of stuff like that. Oh, and I've had my ass grabbed. But of course,
it's some female comedians that are hella aggressive and want to have sex, and that's cool for them. I never shame what nobody else is doing. I don't really care what you're doing, but you got to learn how to handle each individual person differently, right? Because we're not all the same. So I'm not okay with that aggressive behavior if you reciprocate it towards me. But then I'm not also offended if somebody do something. And then I got shamed by a bunch of white comedians on Clubhouse. They were like, because I was like, yeah, some things I just see as people shooting a shot. How could you? That's sexual harassment. And I said, well, if you look at the definition of sexual harassment, and they started using words like sexual assault. If you look at the definition, nobody held me against my will. You can say what you want to me. I'll rebuttal, and then it needs to end there. I've never had anybody that I rebutted against that just kept hounding me. So it's just like I set a boundary. Don't play with me like that, or that's not cool. And then it moves on. I don't see the need to try to destroy people. Unless you're holding me against my will, I can't get out, you're holding me down, you're raping, just something like that, then yeah.
Or you're not taking no as for no.
For an answer, yeah.
Right, like he shoot a shot, you say no, he ends it, that's the end of it. But if he keeps going, then it's like, all right, now you fucking harassing me.
Yeah, now you're harassing me. So, but the first time I'm not going to consider it harassment. I'm going to say, okay, I'm just going to nonchalantly say, oh, it's shooting your shot, right? I'm not okay with it. Here's why I'm not okay with it. Leave me alone. After that, most people leave you alone, right? Most people don't want trouble if you verbally say, leave me alone.
So if the shooting...
I have a gun. I don't know about the other women out there, but I am strapped and I have a lot of bullets. Even though they say bullets are kind of scarce right now, I have bullets on bullets. And they're ready. So if you don't want to take no for an answer, just know.
You get your ass shot.
Yeah.
Straight up. I mean, we
from Florida.
We from Florida, man. We don't fuck around. This is something I want to know too. As a woman coming up, were there other female comedians that helped you? Do you feel like you had support of other female comedians to kind of help you? And I mean like more veteran type comedians. Were there any older comedians that you could kind of talk to that kind of helped you when you was getting into the game?
Yeah, I would say definitely like Melanie Camacho, who still to this day calls and checks on me. And I'll never forget, I had they turned the music up on me at what was that, the Laugh Factory, because they say I went over my 3 minutes and I didn't. It was this one in particular guy who was running the night. Mm-hmm. And he was just known to kind of do little shady shit like that. And I had 5 minutes. Maybe he didn't know, maybe he forgot, maybe he didn't think my set was going that good or whatever, but he turned my mic off and turned the music up on me. And I was just like really sad. And I remember going upstairs and it was Leslie Jones sitting up there. And this was before she got on SNL. So before the height of her career. And she was like, yo, don't let nobody, you'll be good. Just, they do shit like this, like men or promoters or people like that. She was like, just keep your head in the game. So people having special moments with you like that is very important. Melanie's always giving me like great advice about how to deal with people if you're on the road, if you don't like this or you don't like that, how to handle yourself. And I remember the one time I got into it with crazy ass D, right, because he brought me up bad and I bombed and I was like, fuck you. And Tiffany Haddish was like, don't you let, and I was about to cry, and Tiffany was like, don't you let these niggas see you cry. Tiffany Haddish pulled me to the side and I was like, but I don't know. So yeah, so I think that whenever you need people the most, they really come through. And also it's just other female comedians, we just lean on each other when we need. Like right now, I'm getting ready to start writing a book, and it's Heather J. She's a comedian who's written several books. She said, let me know if you need help, if you need guidance, if you need to know how to find an editor. So yeah, just it's a supportive community, right? Some people you're going to be closer to than others because that's just a natural thing, just to have, more of a connection, human connection with certain people. But I'll just say that, most female comedians that I've met have been great, and if you needed them or you needed some advice, they're always willing to be there and help you. So, yeah. That's
dope. I remember the first time I realized you were funny as a stand-up because I was nah, for real. You see people around like on the scene, but you don't actually see them perform all the time. So I would see you around and I would have conversations with you, but I had never seen you perform. And I was like, oh, okay, she see like cool people.
I used to hang out. They used to be like, are you here to try to get with somebody or are you here for comedy? It's like, I'm just waiting my turn.
And so I want to say it might have been the Laugh Factory. I want to say it was the Laugh Factory, maybe, is when I first seen you do like a set. And I was like, oh, she funny. Like she funny. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't hacky. It was like original material. But I think that was like my first time, like, oh, cause you know, comedians, like, we cool with you, but we ain't cool till we know you funny. You know, like when we know you funny, then we like, oh, okay, then we put our arms around you.
Okay.
You know, and be like, all right, I can fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? You can't be walking around with no unfunny person. That's like walking around with an ugly
people
ass.
automatically assume they're good because they're hanging out with you, and then they'll give them an opportunity. Like this one girl, she was just always standing around me at the clubs. You know, I'm friendly, I talk to you. And then the guy was like, this one promoter was like, I put her up because of you. I was like, you didn't never ask me. We never had a conversation. I would have told you I've never seen her perform.
Yeah, did you do that show? Didn't you perform with us in Houston at Atheon? That was?
Oh yeah, I've evolved since then.
Yeah. You did okay though, didn't you? I mean, I think you did.
I did pretty good, but
yeah,
just you always want to just be better. Like, I think when you first start stand up, the goal is to make people laugh, and sometimes I want you to laugh, so I may not be telling you a story that's about me, because I'm trying to get this laughter. I need this from you. Now it's like, I feel like either you laugh or you don't. I know I was engaging. You didn't talk.
Right. Your comedic voice, how long do you feel like it took before you feel like you started to discover your comedic voice as a stand-up?
Comedic voice, I feel like I'm still trying to find it, right? I'm still living life. I'm still experiencing things. I'm still trying to find myself and figure out who I am and how I can really navigate through this world and how the world perceives me, right? So now I'm about like just telling my story. And I would say when I started to want to tell my story, it's because ideally I wanted to get into Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. So when I had became a new face for 2018, Just for Laughs New Face, uh, Jeff Singer had told my agent at the time, tell Daphnique we remember her sitting in the coming to every callback. I wasn't on the callback, but I would go and just for 2 years straight, I would study and watch people that were doing the callbacks and see who they picked. And I realized that they weren't picking people that was talking about old men and all this stuff. They were picking people who had a story. So then I started to write and say, okay, this is a goal of mine to make it to this comedy festival. So how do I start to gear my story to be ready to go to this festival? And so I would say that came in, starting to study that would be like 2016. Is like, oh, what experiences have I had? Oh, I've been drugged in Vegas. I'm at the point where my grandparents want me to pay for everything. So it's like the options of, how do they include me in options of the funeral for my uncle, because it's like, maybe you'll help out a little bit. So, so now I'm included in the options, but then you might not want my options, So then it's like, if I could buy a husband, what would that look like? I'm tired of American men and the views so if I could have this mail order bride, why not? So it's just like all these things of like life. And I say that transition really started to hone in on me around 2016. Gotcha. But I'm still trying to perfect it.
How long you been doing stand-up now? What's that?
October 2010. So I quit a couple times.
I was gonna ask you about that because I remember, for whatever reason that stuck out, I remember talking to you a long time ago, and you said you started and you stopped and you started back again. What was behind those decisions with the stopping and starting of your stand-up?
It was tough at first. It was a lot of hanging out. It was just hanging out. And sometimes back then I didn't see the mindset of it. It's like, you're hanging out. I'm spending this gas. I'm spending this money. I'm staying here at 11 o'clock at night. I'm getting rejected for asking people, hey, can I get up next week? It's the constant rejection. So this shit takes a toll on you. It's hard. And then you're in a male fraternity. Some of them are kind of mean. Some of people are nice. It's a tough business. But I think it's weaning out the weak, right? So I just stuck in it, and sometimes something always brought me back, right? There was a person in my ear or a situation where I always came back. And then that would say, I think 16 is when I said I'll never quit again.
And look at you now. Look at you now.
Right, made it yet.
I mean, but you getting that, it's one of those things where I suffer from the same thing, which is I always got my head down working. And it takes other people to see what I'm doing to be like, Justin, you getting it in though. You not probably where you want to be yet, but you put it in the work.
Yeah. Yeah, you're still successful, because I had to look at it like that too. It's like, cause I used to look at it like, I always look at it in the mindset of where I want to go. And then we did some mushrooms. I realized gotta live in the moment. I'm not enjoying life of where I am. And like, it's like I have the money. I mean, I don't got all the money, but I got some money.
Right.
So it's just
Straight
like,
up.
just being happy with where I am, because at the end of the day, I went out yesterday and so many people recognize my work from these sketches, all over the world. And people knew me in Dubai. People knew me when I went to South Africa, Canada, just from these sketches. So it's just like, even if I died today, I made it. But sometimes we want to make it at a level where we see ourselves, which can be realistic or unrealistic, right? Because we're equating that success to other people. So we're not equating it to the success of where you're at in life and how you've surpassed millions of people. You see it as like, oh yeah, Tiffany's the hottest thing out. I want to be like Tiffany. You know what I mean? Or Kevin Hart's the hardest thing out. I want to be at the Kevin Hart level, but at the end of the day, the level that I'm at too, I'm still successful. And that's how I had to start to look at it, because I was becoming angry in a way with the industry for not picking me yet. So what is it about me? Why do I keep getting all these rejections on these auditions, and why am I not here? And it started to make me feel some type of way where I was beginning to be unhappy. And I used to think money made you happy. Like if you have money, you'll be happy as fuck. And it really doesn't. It takes for you to just be in the moment and realize where you're at is good. You're gonna do better. But for right now, today's time is good.
Straight up. That was some real shit. Everything she just said is absolute facts. I tell my homeboys that all the time, like, money don't bring happiness. It makes it easier to survive life. You're not worrying
You don't
about
have to
bills.
stress the bills. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have the stress of bills, but it don't bring happiness for sure. And I get it. The people that don't have the money can't see that, or don't want to see that. But it's just the facts. It just is what it is. That's a good transition, because I wanted to get to the content, the social media content. When did you start posting your videos and sketches? And when did you start doing it consistently?
So I don't know if you remember this thing called Vine. I think it was like 2014 or 15.
Yep.
I used to do Vine, and
Oh, okay.
I was consistent with it. And the team was like Simone Shepherd. It's another big girl. She's dating Tommy Lee. Damn it, I can't think of her name right now. And we used to all shoot these vines, Doughboy and Nate Jackson. And it's crazy to see everybody else where they're at in their success now. But we used to shoot these vines, and it used to take like an hour and a half to shoot a 6-second vine, because if you messed up or anybody missed a cue, you had to start all the way back up. It wasn't no editing back then. You had to delete and scratch. All right, guys, and one more time. And make sure you get it right, Justin.
Straight up.
Like that. So yeah, so I started on Vine, and I remember saying to myself, this ain't going nowhere. What is this? This is a waste of my time. And I'm going to focus on stand-up. So I did stand-up every night. And then fast forward, they had this sketch show on BET called 50 Central. And I was up for that show. And I tested for it. And I wasn't even going to put out my audition tape. I wasn't even going to send it. And I looked at it and was like, nah, nothing. So then they asked for these characters, and the casting director hit me up personally, and she was like, yo, where your tape at? So I was like, okay, I'll put it out. So I ended up putting it out, and I got picked to go to the thing, and they ended up not picking me. They picked some other people. And I remember seeing somebody that worked at BET like months later, and they were like, you were really good. You were chosen. Sometimes it just comes down to, other things. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I looked at the people they picked and I saw they had like a social media following. And I said to myself, yo, I'm never going to leave money on the table again. Cause I always don't ever want that to be a factor. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, fast forward, that was, July 2017, I hit up Jahan Jones. It was like, hey man, I want to shoot some sketches. And Jahan said, well, I'm going to go over Simone Shepherd's and Kieran's house, and you come over there, just meet me over there. And I met over there, it was Donovan and D-Lay. So then I started to like learn from them and learn the system of how to create content. And I wasn't really growing there, you know what I mean? So it took for me to step out and do stuff on my own. That's why I always tell people, don't think you just gonna get with a team and grow. You gotta be doing your own shit. It's just like when you do stand-up. You could open up for somebody for years, but if you ain't trying to get an agent and do auditions and do all this other stuff, you're just gonna be stuck up under that person, and you're not gonna grow. You're gonna stay stagnant with that person, right? So it took for me to go out and do my own things and collab and come up with ideas and stuff, and be consistent. And I stayed consistent with that. Like in the beginning, I was putting out 4 to 5 videos a week, because back in the day it was minute content. And I used to talk a lot of trash. That's how I first grew, was relationship stuff on just talking to the camera. And then I eventually would start collaborating with people, because I'm really good at improv. So if you give me a premise, you don't have to write no lines for me. I can go. So that's why a lot of people wanted to work with me. And so it's not like I ain't gonna be the prettiest girl there, but shit, you ain't gotta do nothing. I can write her lines, my lines, your lines, let's go. You know what I mean? So just ended up collaborating with people, just staying consistent, putting out content. And then
And this is on Instagram, Facebook. Which platform are you using at this point?
You always put it on every platform. You never know where you're gonna hit. So I was Facebook back in the day. It was just Facebook and Instagram, right, and YouTube. So I was doing those 3, and then eventually I added TikTok. So just putting that content out consistently. And I remember 2018, they opened up monetization for me, so I got approved like July 2018. And then so I tested for SNL like a couple of months later.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, I tested. They flew me to New York. I got flued out.
Okay.
And I tested, and they didn't pick me. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just go hard and create my content. Now I'm going to stop. I'm going to get out because back then I was doing the minute content, and you couldn't really monetize on Facebook. So then I started cranking out that 3-minute content, that long form content, and then just started making money. January 2018 is when I got approved, but I didn't make that much money the first 6 months. It was just like, it was barely $1,000. But when I came back and they didn't pick me, I said, you know what, it's time. I'm not gonna lose. And I turned that shit into what it is today. And that's being consistent. I don't shoot as much as I used to, but I'm still out here.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
I have over 500, I think 600 sketches. So.
Whoa, that's amazing.
What more y'all want from me?
they want it all. You know, people don't never get enough. That's what I was gonna ask you. How many videos do you feel like you put out a week now or a day? You know, on TikTok or whatever.
Well, because I'm doing the TikTok and the stuff now, so I'm just back on it, because my goal now is to grow Instagram. Because for years, I think a year and a half, I didn't post on Instagram, but very rarely, because it was the only site that wasn't monetized. So I didn't put my focus there, but I've been going hard. I just hit a little over 400K by posting, posting to Reels and IGTV and making posts. And doing stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just saw they opened up monetization for like IGTV on Instagram.
It's been open since last year.
Oh shit! Well, they just told me about it last week. It was like, hey, Justin, to nudge me, I guess, to start putting out content on them platforms. Yeah, I know what you mean by not having a social media following, and that could not get you selected for something, because when they was bringing back Wild 'N Out, like the first time, not even as new after it got taken off the air, but like when Nick was first bringing it back, and it had like, Carlos, and they started bringing back all those, Chico and those.
Be about comedians, yeah.
Yeah, so I tested for that. I was in that last round. That was before MacGyver and Rush Hour and all that shit. And when I didn't get selected, one of the producers like, Justin, we like you. If someone don't do it, we go hire you. But it still came down to, when I looked at who got picked, a lot of those people were social media people. And I felt the same way, like, damn, I was like, I need to get my social media followers up or something, because, you know, that was a reason I feel like why I didn't get selected. So I know how that is. Hey, I wanted to ask you about collaborating. How do you okay, was there anybody when you were starting out that you tried to collaborate with? You don't have to say a name if you don't got to say no names or nothing, but were there any people that you kind of reached out to that was like, nah, they not fucking with you?
No.
Okay, so you ain't had that happen.
I'm too good.
Okay,
and I'm not trying to be an asshole. It's just that I did one video up at the barbershop with Garrett Dixon, and Garrett Dixon had seen me, and he was like, and he posted the thing, and I was the crazy girlfriend. And then it went from Rito, and then it went from Carrie, but everybody wanted to work with me. I wasn't even reaching out to people. It's because I had set such a presence, you know, in these sketches, that if you just be good, and sometimes it's about maybe doing, and I didn't even start off doing my own thing. So I immediately start off with collaborating with people and just having those relationships. So I never had anybody reject me. No.
Oh, that's dope. I can't say the same. I get rejected every day.
You
But
do by people that want to collab?
no, not collabing, because I don't even be doing stuff like that. But just anything, like even like the podcast, or just like reaching out with people about different opportunities and stuff like that. You know, niggas leave you on red and all type of shit. You know,
Probably asking the social media people are a little more humble than regular like celebrities, right? And a nigga could have fell off, but he's still gonna have that little era about him. But
right.
it's just like, if people know that you can make good content, or they know you're somebody of value, people are gonna work with you. And then also, I'm a woman, so you got to figure, it's like, it's a lot of shit is relationships. So how do you create something if you're reaching out to guys and you're just being their homeboy or whatever? So you have to come with ideas or whatever. You just something to offer. I just never had that tough of time. Now I fell out with 2 or 3 people. But yeah.
What would cause a falling out? Just not.
People run they ship. How they run they ship. It's your boat. I don't like it. Let me off. That's it. But the thing is, when you get off, you got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. Now, I had some people that thought they was going to tell me how to run shit, and they not standing on their own 2 feet. So it's just about that. It's just, you got to be able to stand on your own. That's it. But if you don't like how somebody, I never tell people how to run their shit. If I don't like how you over here shooting, or how you doing things, I just gradually smile, and you just won't hear from me no more.
Right. That's how you should do it. Hey, so when did the whole, like, I don't know, like crazy persona start? When did you start like really implementing? Was it that the first video you did with Garrick, or?
Yeah, that was probably the first one. But remember, I was a viner for a long time, for a good 6 months or so. And I wasn't doing the crazy girlfriend on there. So it was just more so just being character Regis, whatever. So that kind of really just developed, and it just was a hit. So I just kept rolling with it. But I think that just because you do a character don't mean people are going to take to it. Because a lot of people try to do things and they don't take to it. It's just what people take to. People took to me. People took to me. Somebody else can do the same shit I'm doing, and that people won't take to you, right?
Straight
People
up.
just like who they like. It's the same thing. If you can never take Cat Williams fans away from him.
Straight up. I would say the same thing like a DC Young Fly. Like, he was like, when he put out his first Vine, it took off, you know, and that was one of those, the people just took to him. You know, it was something about him, you know. Some people have it like that, you know, it's like almost like a Drake. You know what I'm saying? It's just like there's just some people, they put out, they're great also, you know, there's something great about y'all, but people see that, it resonates with them, and then, you know, you start building that following. So I mean, I think that's amazing. So how do you go about building your fan base on social media? And when I say that, it's not just posting, but do you interact with your fans? What do you do at the shows, or at a show? Like, what do you feel like you kind of do to help grow your fan base?
When I go on the road, I try to take a picture with every single person. Someone be like, "You charge?" And I'm like, "No, I just appreciate you for coming out to the show." You know what I mean? So I take a picture with every single person. I listen to them talk my ear off.
No, I know.
Some people don't know when to stop talking. He was like, I've been talking to you for 10 minutes. You recalling videos to me. Somebody did that to me yesterday. He kept seeing all the videos he saw me in and was regurgitating and wanted me to kind of play along. And I'm like, nigga, I don't remember. It's 500. I had a guy do that. He bought a thing on Cameo. He was like, and could you do your famous tagline? And I was like, what? And then he redid it. And I was like, oh, now he had to do it for me to catch the cadence of it, to be like, oh, that was that video, because I don't remember. I'm so tired. I'm tired. But yeah, try to respond. But after a while, when you get so many fans, it's really hard. It's really, really hard. I try to go live and interact, but it's hard because it's like, I don't know, but you should know, when you in acting and stuff, it's so many auditions, it's so many weekly obligations. It's not enough time in the day.
Yeah, nah, straight up. I was gonna ask, how is Cameo? People done told me about it, but I haven't got on there yet. But I mean,
it's a pretty cool app where people just pay you for a shout out. I won't shout out businesses though, because some people I reject those, because if you're doing credit repair, now you're dealing with people's personal information. If anything happened, I don't want to be the person that encourages that. So sometimes when I do choose to work with certain brands and stuff, it's because they're already notable, and that I understand that people are trying to build, but when it comes to people's personal information, that's something that could be very sticky and really kind of could hurt people if something bad ever happens. So I'm kind of like, in particular, don't do things like that, because if I don't know how it works, or I wasn't a testimony of it, the product, because at the end of the day, we know that Jergens lotion is going to be Jergens lotion. You know what I mean? So I could promote that brand because it's an existing brand. But when we doing things like,
shout out to Jergens. I've been a user since
yeah,
19.
give him a sponsorship.
No,
I need to stop playing. Y'all always got white people in your commercials. Put somebody black.
That's what I'm talking about, man. So how do you go about? Because I seen Black People Meet, right? That was Black People Meet. I seen that pop up on TikTok one day. So I know, right? So how do you go about? How did that endorsement happen? Like, how do those companies, do they reach out to you? They reach out to your people.
That's why you should publicly have your email everywhere. So, because they'll reach out to you.
Oh, that's good information.
I know some creators that reach out to brands. I don't do that. But brands usually reach out to me. They'll email me. So.
Damn, you getting it in.
Oh, it's not Black People Meet. It's the BLK app.
Oh, BLK app. Okay.
I like them. So say their name right. BLK app. You can find your future Black queen, king or queen on there.
I don't know. I've been on them for a minute. I don't.
You just gotta update your pictures. You just don't even look real.
I done told him about some of his pictures, man. I'm like, you have a job. Stop looking like you're trying to get a job on your pictures. Just be authentically you. He don't dress like this regularly.
I can tell.
I remember when he first started working with me, he sent some picture. It's his IG picture, even his IG profile picture. I'm like, nigga, you look like you
professional.
Huh?
He look real professional.
Yeah, I'm like, nigga, you work with me. You don't gotta do all that shit. You headlining now. This is why I'm gonna close out on this right here. You headlining. This is something that I wanted to know, especially as somebody that's like building my own social media file. I just got on TikTok in December. I was against it forever because I was like you. I was on Vine when Vine was out. I was on the road with Afion. We had a Foot Locker. Someone recognized me from Vine. I got pissed off. I said, God damn it, I've been fucking moved to LA to act, and niggas know me from Vine. It's stupid. I looked at it completely the wrong way because in my mind, since I was 10, I was like, I'm going to move to LA to be an actor, stand-up comedian. I was like, nigga, I could be a Vine person anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I looked at it completely the wrong way, stopped doing Vine, got off of it. So now here I am, fast forward, I'm like, I see the importance of social media, all this. All right. What do you feel like? And so I got on TikTok. I'm doing good on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? I'm growing. It's a great, great platform. What do you feel like was that magic number, or is that magic number you felt like you hit where you felt like the comedy clubs were starting to take notice and was like, we feel comfortable letting her headline our clubs?
I also think it's who you rep by. So I'm rep by CAA. So
right. That helps.
I don't know. That's all I can have. I don't know what the number would be. I think it's part of who you rep by. They can get on the phone and make conversations, or they pitch you with they may have somebody like a bigger name, and then they'll pitch you up under that. It was like, oh, he'll do this weekend, give her this day. So yeah, I don't know if it's a magic number, because I know some people who get club dates and they don't have any following, and some people that get club dates and they have like 100,000 followers and they're still building. So it's just about, can you put ass in seats? And yeah, I'm still working on that though, because I've only sold out a couple cities. I'm not a consistently seller outer, but I do get hit with 6 shows when I could sell out 1 or 2. You know what I mean? So
straight up,
I'm still working. I think it's just about getting out there, because not all my fans, I don't know if they all know I do stand up. So
gotcha. And what's the ultimate goal? I mean, are you trying to create your own TV show, do films? You want to keep
all of that?
All of that.
All of the above. Sky's the limit. I'm here now.
Straight up.
I'm here now. I don't want to just be one noted. I want to experience it all. I want to be a producer. I want to be, which I want to be a director. I want to be an actor. I want to be an influencer. I want to be a stand-up comedian. I'm here. This is my life. This is what I chose this lifetime, because I believe we all come back multiple times. I'm not going to remember this life.
Right.
But this going to be the best life for now.
Straight up. Straight up, man. I think that's the best way to end it right there. Yeah. And you got anything coming up you want to talk about?
They can check out my podcast too, called Unapologetically Daphnique Podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of the podcasts. You can go on anchor.fm/Daphnique Springs to find my podcast. Make sure you subscribe.
Hey, shout out to Daphne. Appreciate you. Like I said, I created this platform to celebrate people I consider living legends and making legendary moves. Continue doing your thing. You're a queen. You great. You everything you just mentioned that you want to be, you already that, and it's just gonna continue to grow. So,
you too.
Thank you.
Putting Florida on the map, ho.
Hey, we put Florida on the map, ho. All right, I'm out.
All right, bye.
Peace.